It's true to an extent. I am slowly leaving Sony, well, transitioning into the Blackmagic Pyxis until something better comes along. Maybe the Sony FX3 Mark II, but we're talking about now, and I've looked at the best options for my use case and what actually I can afford to grow as a filmmaker and a cinematographer, and that is this camera right here. Now, from here on out, I'm gonna go out of my way and shoot what I can with the Blackmagic Pyxis, but we all know that there's going to be specific tools for specific jobs. Moving forward, I'm gonna film commercials, narratives, corporate, and other slower productions on the Blackmagic Pyxis, but obviously, I'm not going to film a run-gun event with the Pyxis. The FX3 is best used for that because you have the form factor, the amazing autofocus, and it can basically see in the dark at 12,800 ISO. Now, the FX3 is one of the most capable cameras to pursue cinematography. But then the question lies, why did I buy the Blackmagic Pyxis? It's a box style cinema camera. I've been meaning to buy one, but I haven't really pulled the trigger until now. Now, I was looking at the Red Komodo, the KX. They were both great options, but it was too much money for what I need for a practice cinema camera or, diving myself into the cinema world. And with the FX30, I kind of got lazy to film because it does most of the work for me. It's great for efficiency, but I want to start learning again, even from the basics. And I think the Blackmagic is a true value cinema camera. You get 12-bit RAW, B-RAW, which is amazing to work with. And I've done some test shots. I've taken this to a couple productions already. And I'm in love with what I'm seeing. The images that come from this camera is just... It makes it easy for me to get a great image, while the FX3 is already there. It just needs a little bit more finessing in post to get to where you want. But with the Blackmagic Pyxis, it kind of just, it's there already. You just need to do little tweaks to get it right and, have the final look. A B-RAW is basically a very flexible format. We've got SDI connection now rather than an HDMI, and you've got SSD recording alongside with two CF Express Type B slots. We have two types of power solution, the BPU battery and the AC power, which we can use a V-mount battery to use D-tap to the 2-pin AC power, and open gate. It's a big thing for me, especially for both horizontal and vertical delivery. And I've shot a campaign for one of my manufacturing clients, and I'm glad that I don't have to shoot twice or crop 16:9 to 9:16. The extra real estate on the sensor is amazing on OpenGate, and I don't think I can live without OpenGate anymore. And branching off that, it's also great for anamorphic and keeping your resolution, because at 16:9 sensor, or the aspect ratio, when we're starting off with that, we crop a lot more of the footage, especially if we're doing 2x anamorphic. All of this are great features that the FX3 doesn't have, but how does this going to make me a better cinematographer? Now, is buying a new cinema camera going to make anyone a better cinematographer? Heck no. But having a great platform to propel yourself into greatness, well, at least propel yourself into improvement, is key. And I think the Blackmagic Pyxis is a great platform to be in. I get to restart because I haven't had any experience shooting with Blackmagic cameras. So I get to learn the system all over again, like I did with my Sony cameras, from the ground up. And it's been super easy to jump into, by the way. Their menu system and the UI is so simple and clean, and it makes Sony look like an organized mess with their menus. B-RAW is so flexible, and it works smoothly with DaVinci Resolve and my MacBook M1 Pro. And another thing is restrictions and restarting my workflow with this camera. Because one, there's no more autofocus, and I get to zero in on the image rather than the camera do it for me. Where to focus, where to frame to help this story move forward. This means that I get to start over and kind of get rid of my bad habits with the Sony system. And this is a great chance for me to relearn the foundations of cinematography with the Blackmagic Pyxis, because you can't beat a solid foundation. Now, over the years, I've been learning video production on my own, and I've picked up a lot of experience and technical skills on productions. But I've never really had the time to sit down and study cinematography formally. Yes, I know how to light a scene, frame an image, and make things look kind of good, but most of my work has been for brand campaigns and or corporate projects. And sure, you could argue that this is some form of cinematography, but I've never really explored narrative cinematography, making movies. Thankfully, platforms like Skillshare make it easy to dive deeper. Skillshare is one of the largest online learning communities with courses for all things filmmaking, from script writing, color grading, and all the way to the core elements of cinematography. You know, how color influences mood, how camera angles drive a story, and other cinematic techniques that I've always wanted to study. Skillshare offers courses taught by industry experts, so you know you're learning from the pros. And I recently took a cinematography basics course on lighting by the award-winning cinematographer Zach Mulligan, who explains foundational concepts in a simple, digestible way. It's amazing how easily you can apply these skills to your own films with just you practicing on your own. One thing that I love about Skillshare is that if you have an active membership, you get unlimited access to courses. Perfect if, like me, you're looking to expand your skills in cinematography. And if you want to take advantage of this, the first 500 people to use my link down below will get 1 month free membership. So check it out and learn as much as you can to your heart's content and grow your skills as a cinematographer. And thank you to Skillshare for sponsoring this video. Call it lazy if you will, but with the FX3, things got monotonous. I've been on the Sony ecosystem since 2016, and I've never really jumped out because the tech is amazing. Great reliability, and the FX3 basically almost does everything for you. It's a great all-arounder, especially for video. And again, it's efficient, but just got boring in the long run. Now, I make a decent living with the FX3 and will continue to use it for jobs that call for it, but the Pyxis is a true inspiration. The slower workflow will allow me to breathe and think about my next shot rather than go with the FX3. On set, this camera will definitely get me on my feet. It's slower, meaning time is shorter. We'd have less time to finish a job, and we all know how super stressful it can be on set because we're always problem solving on the spot. And this means putting more pressure on myself. And I do have a history as well of pushing myself into uncomfortable situations. This way, I get into kind of this survival mode to triumph, or even if I crash and burn, I'll always have lessons to learn from failing. Now, with these restrictions in mind, I wouldn't get so complacent about my craft and depend most of the work onto the camera like the FX3 has. So this will definitely be a great platform for me to restart my workflow. The Red workflow is something I've dabbled with in the past and I didn't end up liking it. I think B-RAW is a happy medium between the FX3's compressed H.264, H.265 files and Red RAW. Blackmagic was an easy jump for me. Within a few days of testing, I got to know the camera pretty well, its limits in terms of highlights, shadows, and I was able to adapt my knowledge and experience with it. Red cameras are expensive and Blackmagic cameras are known for, your best bang for your buck products. And they have delivered with the Pyxis. I mean, this is cheaper than the FX3. Overall, the ease of use of the Blackmagic Pyxis is something that I enjoy a lot and that I didn't get to experience that with Red. I'm not bashing the Red workflow at all. Again, it might just be me not spending enough time learning the Red workflow, and I've seen a lot of people who have done great work on the Red Komodo and the KX. So yeah, it's probably just not for me, or I just wasn't so interested in really diving deep into the Red workflow. Now, in the end, you can use any camera as a filmmaker, whether it's a Blackmagic, Red, or ARRI. It's not gonna make you any better as a cinematographer, but giving yourself a platform to grow, which in my case is the Blackmagic Pyxis, will lead you to the right path of moving forward, at least failing, learning, and a lot of you trying to experiment with your new platform. You just have to make videos and practice the art of cinematography to get better. Shoot those little movies, experiment, and most importantly, enjoy the process. Maybe this video is just me trying to justify my purchase, and if you think so, I don't mind. I like the camera and I can afford it. Worst case scenario, I sell it for maybe half the cost, maybe for a year, 2 years. I'm just gonna see it as a cheap long-term rental with this camera. But anyways, if you have any questions about my transition from Sony to Blackmagic, let me know in the comments down below or message me on Instagram. But until then, I will see you in the next video. Peace.